Hey, TikTok. Hello, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Good to see you. I'm Brian Manning, and I'm an asylum lawyer. My law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers, and we help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. I'm going to answer your questions today. Let me know on this Asylum Answer Show what questions you have about winning asylum in the United States. But first, say hello. Let me hear from you. Let me see where you're watching from. If you want to tell me what country you're from, love to hear that too. Really like to hear where our followers are, where this community of asylum seekers is. Say hello. Let me know where you are. Let me know in the comments. Say hello and where you're watching us from today. So listen, my law firm is based in Texas, but it doesn't really matter because we help immigrants all over the country. Lots of clients in Texas, of course, but that's not it. Lots in California, lots in New York, lots in Florida, lots around Chicago, Atlanta, North and South Carolina, Denver, everywhere in between. We help people all over the country. And I want to answer your questions about winning asylum in the United States. All right. So go ahead, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what questions you have. But before I turn to your questions, I want to address this issue. I've been getting this question quite a lot from people that have a stalled asylum case, right? People that applied for asylum several years ago and they've been waiting for their interview and they're considering possibly suing the government through what's called a mandamus lawsuit to force USCIS to finally give them their long overdue interview. But they're a little bit worried. They're a little bit concerned that they may be hurting themselves by doing this and getting their interview and their decision during Trump's administration. So the idea from some people I'm hearing it from is like, well, I guess maybe should I just wait, Brian? Should I just wait until, after Trump is out of office again, like 4 years from now, and then I'll bring my mandamus lawsuit so that, I'll have a better chance after Trump is gone. So listen, I think that makes, I completely understand where you're coming from. That line of thinking makes perfect sense. I get it. It makes sense. But I don't agree with it. I think you should not wait. I think you should push your case forward as soon as possible. Listen, there's several reasons why in general, I think that, having your case heard as soon as possible works to your advantage strategically. And then there's also the Trump effect. But let me first just say a couple words about the more general factors that make it such that in general, I think that, the sooner you can present your case, the better. First of all, with every passing year, really with every passing month, but especially with every passing year that goes by from the time that the incident in your country happened or from the time that you left your country and now, the more time that goes by, the more likely the asylum officer is to say, listen, I understand, some bad things happened. I'm sorry, that's bad. But, that was a long time ago. Why do you think people would still want to hurt you now after all of this time? That's the way that many asylum officers think. I can tell you this as a former asylum officer myself, and now as an asylum lawyer when we're dealing with the asylum offices every day. A lot of asylum officers, they think that, and a lot of them literally say that, like, but it's been a long time. Why would they still want to hurt you now? And so the more time that goes by, the more likely the officer is to think that. To think like, it was a long time ago. You'll be okay now. They've forgotten about you. They don't care about you now. Okay, so that can hurt your case. And then another thing, though, is that conditions could change in your country in a way that makes it harder for you to win, or they could look like they've changed, and that can make it harder for you to win. What do I mean by that? Well, sometimes things really do change in a way that makes it less likely that you're going to be gravely harmed in the future, right? Let's say that, you were part of the political opposition and you were against the government that was in power and they were doing bad things to you. They were targeting you for harm. And you're afraid that they would harm you if you went back, but then they lose elections or they get kicked out of power somehow. And now the government in power is your party, the guys that you supported. Well, it's hard to make that argument that you're still at risk in the future of being persecuted by that other government. It's not impossible. Like, they could still persecute you in their individual personal capacities outside of government, but that makes it harder to win because then it's what we call a private actor as the persecutor, private citizen, and not the government. But that can hurt your case. So a change in conditions, or if the government in your country actually does a better job of respecting human rights, and trying to go punish the bad guys that you fear, well, that can hurt your case as well. But listen, sometimes governments don't actually get better, and conditions in general don't actually get better, but it might look like they've gotten better to the asylum officer. Here's what I mean. Every year, not every year, every case. In every case, the asylum officer is going to consider country conditions information from your country. And one of the things that they consider in pretty much every case is the State Department Human Rights Report. And if that human rights report that they put out every year says, oh, you know what? Country X, they made some improvements in human rights. They made some improvements in, trying to stop these bad guys that are doing this bad thing. Well, that can hurt your case. But listen, sometimes our human rights reports say that even when it's not true. How do I know that? Because I've worked on that human rights report. So before I was an asylum officer with USCIS, I was a diplomat, okay? And I worked with our foreign ministry, with the State Department, and I worked on this human rights report. And I can tell you from personal insider experience that political considerations do come into play in the language that we use in the human rights report, which is to say, if we want a government to like us, to maybe do us a favor, we might consider using softer language. We might consider being a little bit less critical in that next human rights report. I've seen that happen. I know that this gets debated and can find its way, this analysis and this question finds its way into these human rights reports, which is all to say, to put it more directly, politics plays a role in these human rights reports. And so we might say that things have gotten better in a country when really they might not have, but we're doing it for strategic foreign policy reasons. But that would hurt your case. If the human rights report makes it sound like things got better, or that, whatever was the problem that you were facing is not as big of a problem now, that would hurt your case. So the more time that goes by, the more risk there's risk. There's always risk that things get better in your country, or they look better at least, and that will hurt your case. Now listen, now we have to deal with the Trump effect too. I believe that every month that Trump is in office, it's probably going to get harder and harder to win your case. He's going to put into place actual policies that make it harder and that exclude entire classes of people from being eligible for asylum. But he's also going to bring with him just a general anti-immigrant atmosphere, all right, that's going to lead to more denials. Now, I think it's going to take some time for the effects of these things to be fully felt, which is to say, I think that denials are going to climb over time over the next 4 years with Trump in office. I think they're going to go up and up and up and up and up and up. By the end of the Trump administration, I think denials are going to be way higher than at the start, okay? So what does that mean for you? If your asylum case has been pending for multiple years, should you just kind of wait and say, well, yeah, I'm not going to sue yet. I'm going to wait until Trump's out of office, then I'll file a mandamus lawsuit to force my interview? I don't think so, no. I don't think that's smart. First is what I told you about in general. The longer you wait to have your interview, the harder it usually is for people to win. But with the Trump effect, you can sue now. And if you have success with this mandamus lawsuit, you're probably going to get your interview very soon in the next few months and get a decision soon thereafter. That's better than getting a decision 2 years, 3 years, 3.5 years into the Trump administration. Okay. I would much rather have my clients get their interview and their decision at the beginning of the Trump administration than in the middle or at the end. Okay. And so I think it makes sense to do that now and not wait. The idea of just waiting until Trump's out of office to sue, that's risky because you're waiting, 4 more years to do this. And there's a lot that can happen in those 4 years that can weaken your case, weaken your chances for success. So I think it makes more sense to push forward now, like right now. Okay. The sooner the better, in my opinion. So that's what I wanted to say. Let's go to the questions. I saw a question on TikTok. Nathaniel Kasi. Not sure how to pronounce that, but the question is, how do I sue? So the question yeah, nice. Good to see you. The question is this: how do you sue the government to force them to give you your asylum interview? How does it work? What do you do? So listen, we call this a mandamus lawsuit, or you can just call it an asylum delay lawsuit, right? Where you're bringing a lawsuit in federal court, asking a federal judge to tell USCIS, You got to do your job. You got to give this person their interview and decision because this delay is unreasonable. How do you do this? Well, you have to put together what's called a complaint where you're explaining why the government is obliged to give you your interview, why they have to give you your interview under the relevant laws. You file this complaint. The government, from the time you file and send them a copy of the lawsuit, they get 60 days to respond and tell the judge what their position is. Usually it's during that time they call me and we negotiate and we end up getting the interview scheduled, okay, through those negotiations. Now, you can do this on your own in a federal court, but it's tricky. It's federal court. It's much more complicated than most stuff that goes on in immigration court or USCIS. So I recommend an asylum lawyer with experience suing the government. Okay. We have that. We love it. We love suing the government. So we've sued the government over 100 times for asylum delay lawsuits in the last maybe year and a half or so. And listen, before I say the next thing, I want to say that past performance does not guarantee future results. Okay. But we haven't lost one of these yet. We have not lost one of these cases yet. It's an extremely, extremely powerful tool for moving your stalled asylum case forward. Okay. Our clients love it because it works. All right. Let's see who's on YouTube. Velvet Versa. Hello. Good to see you. Andek Wojtaja. Sorry for the mispronunciation. Finland. Very interesting. Tat Junkie says hello. Nojim Ogunle says, we're here from Maryland. Nice. New York is where Tat Junkie is. We got Ali Fazil saying hello, hello. Santosh Raj, credible fear interview results. What do you mean by that? What's your question about that? Tat Junkie says, will Trump affect getting the Social Security number? Let me address that. It's a good question. The question is this. Is Donald Trump going to make it harder to get your work permit and your Social Security card based on your pending asylum case? Maybe. Listen, I haven't heard him or his team say this yet, that they're going to pull that lever to make it harder or impossible. I haven't heard them say that, which is good news. But I can't rule it out entirely because, look, they do have a history. Last time they did try to do pretty much everything to try to make life as hard as possible for asylum seekers, all right? So that people would just give up and go home or never come here in the first place. And this issue of work permits and Social Security cards is something that they could mess with. They could change some things. They could just adjudicate them slowly. Like when you apply right now, it's usually quick. The first time that you apply, it's usually very quick. Like a month later, you get your work permit. They could slow that down. It could be 6 months. It could be a year. So yeah, it's possible they could mess this up, but we'll see. I hope not. Okay. I really don't. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a strong sense for that. I hope they don't. Mihir says, hello, sir, from New York. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Nice. Thanks, Velvet Versa. Gigi, thank you for after you helped us pass the interview. Yes, I hired your office to file the adjustment of status. Nice. Thank you. Thank you for being a loyal client. It was a pleasure and an honor supporting you in your asylum case. So thank you for the opportunity. All right. Ahmed Fikri says, return to my country is risk of having passport confiscated for political affiliation. Plus, I was briefly detained multiple times. Does that rise to the level of persecution in your country? Let's see. Good question. Question is this. Does being detained briefly a few times and having your passport confiscated constitute persecution that is sufficiently severe to rise to the level of persecution, as that word is used in the context of U.S. asylum law? Probably not. I don't think so. No. I mean, listen, it depends. During those detentions, you didn't say this in the question, but what I would like to ask is, were you physically harmed, or were you mistreated in detention? Were you threatened in detention? What were the conditions like? Was it terrible, dirty, gross conditions? Did they keep the lights on all night and, have freezing cold air coming in to keep you up and play loud music all night? Throw cold water on? I mean, listen, details like this can get you there, across that persecution threshold. But if you were never harmed or threatened or anything, and just some quick detentions And the passport thing, probably not. But listen, there's still future persecution, right? The fact that you don't establish that you've been persecuted in the past does not mean that you're going to lose your asylum case. You can win it based just on the future of whether, if you convince the asylum officer that you have a well-founded fear of persecution on account of a protected ground, then you'll win asylum. And that means that you establish that you convince them that there's a reasonable possibility that you'll be persecuted. What does reasonable possibility mean? Well, the Supreme Court has defined it as about like a 10% chance of being harmed really gravely. Okay. And so based on your history of, look, they've already taken action against me. I'm already on the list. They've indicated they know who I am and they want to hurt, they've taken steps to mess with me, to harass me, to intimidate me. And, I have reasons to believe that next time it could be even worse. Then, you can win a case. All right. All right. So we need to talk in more detail about, exactly what's going on, so I can tell you how strong of a case I think that you have. Speaking of which, if you want to talk with us about your asylum case, then I want you to go to winasylum.com. That's WINASYLUM.com. That's the webpage where you can schedule an asylum strategy session, which is a consultation that you'll do with one of my colleagues, one of our asylum professionals, where we're going to go deep in analyzing your situation. We're going to understand your case, get to know you and your case, so we can tell you whether we think that we're in a position to help you, to meaningfully help you to secure your future in America through asylum. And if we think so, then we're going to tell you how. We're going to explain to you step by step exactly what it is we would do to give you the best possible chance to win your asylum case. Okay. All right. Adela, says hello from Tennessee. Nice. Good to see you, Adela. Thanks for joining us from Tennessee. Waiting for interview since June 2022, seeking for homeschool asylum from Sweden. If we get denied asylum, do you recommend to take it to immigration court or give up? All right. Well, first of all, Adela, we should talk about your situation. It's going to be hard to win that case if it's based just off of the fact that, I assume, is it that you want to do homeschool like for your kids or something and they won't let you and you could be fined or maybe even jailed for that? Is that what the case is? If that's it, that's a hard case to win. The chances for success with that are very, very low. But you never know. I would need to really get to know the situation to tell you what I think, and because maybe there's more to it than that, right? But let me address you didn't ask about that. So let me address your actual question. You said, if we get denied asylum, do you recommend taking it to the immigration court or giving up? So the question is this: if your case is denied by USCIS at your asylum interview, after it, they say, nope, you're not eligible for asylum. Should you keep fighting your case and take it to immigration court, or should you just give up? Well, listen, you don't really have a choice whether your case is sent to immigration court. How it works is, at the moment USCIS makes their negative decision, they look and see whether you have legal immigration status at that moment. Some people do. Some people still have their tourist status valid. Some people have business status. Student status is very common to still have. If you do still have that status, USCIS just denies you. You don't get sent to court, but you don't get to appeal. Your case is over. If you don't have legal status, they put you in deportation proceedings. They send you to immigration court where, yes, you get a second chance. It's not technically an appeal, and you don't have any choice. They're trying to deport you. Your really only defense probably is to keep fighting your case in immigration court. Okay. So yeah, the bottom line is it's not a choice. It's not like, oh, should we keep it up or technically you could withdraw your asylum claim. But if you're sent to court and you withdraw your asylum claim, you're not going to have probably any avenue for relief from removal, and you're going to get ordered deported. So if you're still afraid of being harmed in your country, then yeah, it makes sense to keep fighting it in immigration court if you get sent there. Okay. Ali Fazo says, you helped me so much. Thanks, Ali. Appreciate you saying that. You mean through YouTube, through these asylum answer shows and all the tutorials we have on our channel? By the way, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. If you want to see all my best stuff, very detailed tutorials, trainings on lots of different asylum topics, then you need to go to YouTube and search for political asylum lawyers on YouTube. That's the name of my channel, Political Asylum Lawyers. And there, if you go to the playlist tab, you'll see playlists of lots of different categories, including like, the asylum application form or preparing for the asylum interview, stuff like that I think is really going to help you to increase your chances for success. Okay. Mihir says, quick question. My friend is in my native country, said the police and other government officials came to his house asking about me. Does this help to establish the risk of future persecution? Good question. Sorry to hear about that, Mihir. That's tough. The question is this. Will the fact that the authorities, like the police in your country, came looking for you in your home country when you were already here, will that help you to win asylum? So listen, this sounds like, it's the kind of thing that can definitely help convince the asylum officer that the authorities are interested in you and may want to harm you. We do see this pretty often with our clients or people that leave the country, and then while they're already here in the United States, the authorities or whoever it is the bad guys are that they fear will go to their parents' house or will go to their neighbor's house or their friend or family's house and say, hey, where is so-and-so? When are they coming back? Sometimes they explicitly make threats about the person. Sometimes they don't, but even if they don't, the mere fact that the police are coming around or whoever is coming around looking for you, that can be taken as a sign that they're interested in pursuing you. So definitely it can help your case. You need to get a statement, a declaration from your friend or whoever it was that saw this about exactly what happened. Okay. Sorry to hear about that, Mihir, but I mean, the good news is that, that can help your case. Okay. Where Trump himself, okay. Asterisk Alliance. I'm looking forward to reading the rest of your, okay. You said that my case is minority based, where Trump himself and chief of investigator also mention of the problem with which growing back in my country. Follow up below. Do you think I have a chance? Did you follow up below that with details about what the minority is and what the problem is? I'm not seeing it in the comments, so I'd have to know what you're talking about. What country is, what the religious or ethnic minority is. So maybe we'll get there. You can let me know in a follow-up question. Okay. Janice, thanks for joining from Arizona. Glad to have you participating in the Asylum Answer Show. Thank you. She says, I tried booking for a paid consultation with you, but the earliest slot available is next year. Could you by any chance squeeze me anytime this week? Janice Moonby. Let me check that, Janice. So listen, this is important to note that we offer free consultations. Right now we do. So in the past, we used to charge for all consultations, but recently, for a while, we've been offering free consultations with my colleagues, who are asylum professionals. I personally don't usually do many consultations. Right now, I am doing some in the moment because of all the demand, because of Trump. With me, it does cost. Right now, through the end of December, I'm charging $350 for a consultation with me personally. In January, it's going to go up to $450. Right now, it's $350. But if you want to talk with me, you can do that. My colleagues, though, it'll be free, and they'll take great care of you. They're professionals. They're good at what they do. They're empathetic. They're smart. They're good at analyzing this stuff and helping to understand your case to be able to tell you whether we think we can help you. And if so, they're going to explain to you in detail exactly what we're going to do to give you the best possible chance of securing your future in America through asylum. Yeah, you're right, Janice. I just checked online and I see that I don't have any availability right now. Let me do this, Janice. Bummer. Janice, I want you to go to winasylum.com right now. I'm opening up availability for myself right now. All right. Go to winasylum.com right now. Click on the tab to book with me personally, and you should see within the next couple minutes, if it's not there already, you should see on Thursday the 19th in the afternoon, I'm able to free up a little bit of time. If you don't see it yet, like refresh when you get to the page, the booking page, refresh your screen and then try it again in a couple minutes if it doesn't work. Because I just cleared off a spot on my calendar for Thursday afternoon. that you can use. All right. But you gotta go quickly. There's only like one spot open now, and it could go fast. So I hope I'm going to check back in 5 minutes, and I hope to see that you on there. Okay. Go do it. Do it now. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger says in Predator. All right. Let's go to the questions. We've got Wisdom Tube. Your contact is so helpful as I prepare for my interview, or content is so helpful as I prepare for my interview next month. Good, Wisdom. I'm glad to hear that you find it helpful. For those, if you want to see what he's talking about, if you don't know, go to YouTube and search political asylum lawyers, and you'll find tons of training videos and stuff that I think was going to help you to increase your chances for asylum success. Okay. Thanks for the info, says Tat Junkie. You're welcome. All right. Boris Durrani says, can I adjust status with a green card holder? You mean marriage to a green card holder? It's tricky, Boris, and it's not something that I do. I don't know that stuff that well, to be honest with you. My law firm, we focus on asylum. Okay. If you want to get confidence about, your chances for getting a green card based on marriage or family, or based on business or employment or investment, you should talk to a lawyer who focuses on that stuff. Okay. I really believe in focusing and specializing in a certain subject matter. And we've chosen to focus on asylum. It's what I love. It's what I'm passionate about. It's what we do every day, all day at my law firm. So I think I'm the guy to come to for questions about asylum, but for questions about, getting a green card based on marriage, talk to a lawyer who focuses on family based immigration law. Okay. Celestial Socrates says, I'm an atheist from Egypt living undercover. Since I made it public, I can put myself in serious danger. Can I apply for religious asylum in the USA without actually being persecuted? Good question. Well, remember, you have to be in the U.S. to actually apply for asylum. I'm not sure if you're here yet or not, but you have to be here first. But I'm going to address your question because it's an important one. And the question is this: can you win asylum without ever having been harmed in the past? Or what about if you've never even been threatened in the past? The good news is that, yeah, you can. Listen, it's true that it is easier. The way that the law works, it does make it easier to win if you have been persecuted in the past. You have kind of a leg up in meeting all the asylum requirements if you establish past persecution on account of a protected ground. However, it's not necessary. You can win without any past harm or even any threats or any problems like whatsoever. We see this a lot in cases where, for example, someone from a very conservative country comes to the United States, and maybe they renounce their religion. Like someone from Iran comes to the U.S., they renounce Islam. Maybe they change to a new religion. Well, that's the kind of thing that could put them at real risk and might allow them to win asylum, even though they never had any problems back in their home country because they didn't even, they were still a Muslim then, or they hadn't done the stuff that put them at risk yet. So the answer is, yeah, it's possible in some cases. Okay. We've helped a lot of clients win cases like that, like what I just described to you, not just from Iran, other countries as well, including, we've helped folks from Egypt as well. Okay. Yeah. So listen, if you want to talk with us, you should go to winasylum.com, winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. That's where you can schedule an asylum strategy session with my law firm. All right. If you want to talk with me personally, you can do that. It costs $350 to talk with me personally, but you can talk with my colleagues for free. Okay. We offer free consultations with my colleagues who are asylum professionals. All right. They're really good at what they do. They'll take great care of you. And we want to talk. We want to see if we're in a position to help you secure your future in America through asylum. Okay. All right. Is Minnesota a good place to file my asylum case? The question is this: is Minnesota a good state to be an asylum seeker? So before I answer that question squarely, directly, let me just say that, it goes by where you live, right? Where your case is going to be heard. If it's an affirmative asylum case with USCIS, it goes by where you live. Okay. Your address, and you can move. before you apply for asylum, or even afterwards, you can apply and then get it transferred from one office to another. You can move, and you shouldn't lie about your address. That would be fraud. That'd be immigration fraud. But if you actually move, you can even purposely do that to move into a state or a place where you're going to be in an asylum office with a higher approval rate, like San Francisco. But yeah, so Minnesota. Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good because that's under the jurisdiction of the Chicago Asylum Office, and they have a pretty high approval rate. It's not the highest, but it's pretty high. So I like that asylum office pretty well. All right. So yeah, Minnesota's pretty good. All right. We've got SDFG asking, Mr. Bryan, when Trump comes to office, is it going to be harder for LGBT and atheist asylum cases to be granted asylum since Trump will bring some conservative atmosphere? I'm in the San Francisco asylum office. Thanks for asking the question. The question is this. Under Trump, is it going to be harder to win an asylum case based on your sexual orientation, like for members of the LGBTQ plus community? And what about for atheists? Is it going to be harder for them as well? So listen, the idea is that this anti-immigrant, more conservative atmosphere that is going to be created and buttressed when Trump is in office, it's going to make it harder in general to win asylum. Yes, I do believe that is true. I think approval rates are going to go down. I think the rejections are going to go up significantly. With every passing month, I expect them to go up more and more and more and more. That means if your case has been pending for multiple years, you should consider suing the government now to get your interview and your decision as soon as possible, rather than waiting or possibly getting called or waiting for years until it's really sort of reaching a peak later in the Trump administration. Yeah, for everyone, I think it's probably going to be harder, but you can still win. You will still be able to win a case based on these things: LGBTQ plus membership, community membership, and possibly religion as well, depending on the circumstances and stuff, your actual facts of your case. Okay, we should talk. Why don't you go to winasylum.com, SDFG. This sounds like the kind of case where we might really be able to help you. We like these kinds of cases. We help people all the time with this. Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. Adela says, just wanted to confirm that we face jail and pay fees. We're Torah keepers and school teaches other religions and holidays and to participate, which we do not want our children to participate. That's interesting. I'm sorry to hear that, that you're in this difficult position. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd have to study it. I'd have to hear more about those things that you're telling me about. And then, look at the conditions there and look at the actual policies and stuff there and the risks to you there. I will tell you, Adela, it's not impossible. We've seen people win from places that are ranked above the United States on like scales of like democracy, the Human Development Index from the United Nations, like in Scandinavia. It's not impossible. People do win asylum sometimes from places like Sweden, Finland, Norway. That generally are highly developed, very free, open societies with strong human rights records. People do still sometimes win asylum from there. Okay. No, James says, Mr. Bryan, the best teacher, will appreciate you a lot. Thanks. Thank you. Very, very nice. Thank you for the kind words. All right. Are we still able to work while waiting for our court at the immigration after the asylum denial? Good question. The question is this. Are you able to continue working legally based on your pending asylum case after your case is referred from the asylum office to immigration court? So if you get that negative decision from USCIS and you don't have legal status, they're going to put you in deportation proceedings in immigration court where you can continue pursuing your case and present it to the judge, and the judge can decide. The good news is that, yes, you can continue working legally and you can continue renewing your work permit based on your pending asylum claim as long as your case is still pending in immigration court. If you lose there and you appeal to the Board of Immigration Appeals, and if you lose there and appeal to a federal court of appeals, you can keep working. You can keep renewing your work permit during that whole process. So we're talking about years, several years for all of that to run its course. Probably at least like 5 for all that, for those 3 levels. Court, BIA appeal, and federal court appeal. For those 3 things, it's going to be several years, and you can keep working. Okay? Okay, Okay. Asterisk Alliance says Bangladesh Hindu. Yeah, you might have we know these cases pretty well. We've got a good amount of experience with cases from Bangladesh, and that sounds like it could be something that could make for a strong case. We should talk about that. Okay. All right. Here says, thank you very much for your information. I'm not in a position to afford a lawyer, but your YouTube videos are really helpful. God bless you and keep you prosperous. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, like that's the thing is, look, I think the best thing that you can do to give yourself the best chance to win your asylum case is to hire my law firm. But I understand that not everyone's in that position. It's just not feasible for everyone. And so I think, I'm proud to offer what we offer through our YouTube channel as a next best thing of, lots of free content, lots of free trainings and insights that are formed from my time on the other side of the desk. Cause I used to be an asylum officer with the government. So that's where you can find all kinds of free content. I think is going to help you. Go to YouTube and search for political asylum lawyers. If you want to talk with us, if you're ready to talk with an asylum professional about your situation and see if we might be in a position to help you, you can do that. You can schedule this consultation, Naomi, at winasylum.com. Go to the webpage, WINASYLUM.com. That's winasylum.com, and you can schedule a consultation, all right? I'm going to type that in the chat box. There we are. Consultations. winasylum.com. Yeah, right now we've got free ones available, okay? Free ones with my colleagues. Right now I'm doing some, and with me they do cost, but with my colleagues, yeah, it's free right now, okay? So go to winasylum.com and schedule your asylum strategy session today. Winasylum.com, that is. All right. All right. What else we got? Let's go to YouTube. All right. Sammy says, my friend came to the border. She applied for asylum. She got a biometrics date. We want to know, is there anything else that she should do or has to do before January 20th? Good question. Thanks for asking it. The question is this. Let's say you've already applied for asylum. You may be wondering, what else do I need to do, if anything, before January 20th? The key date there, of course, that's the date that the Trump administration takes power. Trump will be in office from January 20th. Listen, there's nothing in particular that like you need to do. Oh, you need to do this thing before January 20th. There's not really anything in particular. However, I think it makes sense for you to go ahead and fully prepare your case. Okay, you want to have your case fully prepared on paper and be ready to start the interview preparations in case you get your interview soon, or in this case, this person asked is in court proceedings, in case your court hearing gets scheduled for soon, or even if you have one that's scheduled for far out in the future, it could get changed and it could be soon. So you need to work with an asylum lawyer to build your case and start preparing your case to be ready to present it. Okay. But there's nothing in particular that I think you need to do before before January 20th. Okay. In this scenario. All right. I'm going to switch my lawyer. It shows up. When you're saying asterisk alliance, you said, if I file a lawsuit, is it going to be an issue when I want to switch my lawyer? Do I have to tell him that I'm switching? Good question. Let's address it like this. The question is this. Will changing lawyers while your asylum case is pending have any impact on your case? Could it negatively affect you? And what do you have to do around this? So listen, the good news is no, it will not negatively affect your case. It doesn't look weird. It doesn't look bad. It's normal. People change immigration lawyers all the time while their asylum case is pending. It's not a problem at all. What do you have to do? Well, with asylum office cases at USCIS, it's super easy. Your new lawyer just sends a form into them that says, the form G28 that says, I'm the person's lawyer now. And from that date forward, they just deal with the new lawyer. Yeah, it's a courtesy for you to like let your old lawyer know, look, I've decided to go a different direction. Thanks. I don't need your services anymore. Okay. In immigration court, it's a little more tricky. It's a little more effort, I'll say. The new lawyer has to file a motion and some stuff like that, but it's not a problem. It's easily doable. Okay, it won't hurt your case. Listen, if you think that your current lawyer is not the best person for you, that they're not the right person to give you the best possible chance of winning your asylum case, then you should change. All right, this is too important. We're talking about your future. We're talking about your safety, your security. It's too important to just stick with some lawyer that doesn't give you full confidence or that is not the person best situated to give you the best chance to win your case. Okay. Oh, nice. Mr. Conham M. Conham says, thank you so much, Brian. I was granted asylum recently and your videos helped me a lot. Thanks for letting me know. I love when people come on and say that even though they're not our client, this is not my client, but he's saying, that the videos on YouTube helped him. Very, very nice to hear that. Thank you for taking the time to comment about that. All right. Isn't the category. If your asylum application isn't the category, can you get work permit? What do you mean, Angel? Or Angel? What do you mean by that? Can you restate that question? I didn't understand it. What are your options if USCIS denies your asylum application while your tourist visa, your status is valid? Okay, good question. The question is this. What can you do if you get denied by USCIS in your asylum case while you still have legal status, legal immigration status? So listen, when you have status, whether your tourist status is still valid or you have a student status or whatever the case may be, when they want to make a negative decision, when they do the analysis and say you're not eligible, first they give you a chance to sort of change their minds. They send you this notice of intent to deny where they explain their reasoning and say, you have 16 days to respond to us in writing and tell us why we're wrong, and maybe you'll change our minds. If they still think you're not eligible, they just deny you. You don't get sent to deportation court, immigration court. You're just denied. So what are your options? Nothing really. Listen, technically, you can ask them to reconsider. You can do like a motion to reconsider. We only help people with that in the rarest of circumstances where it's like 99% clear to us that a mistake has been made, like a legal mistake has been made. So, we do it very rarely. People ask us all the time to do this, but I have to believe like there was clearly an error, a glaring legal error that was made in the analysis in order to do that. Otherwise, no, there's not really a route. There's nothing you can do with your asylum case really, unless circumstances change such that you're like at even greater risk or a different kind of risk now than was the case when your case was analyzed last time. If something new happens, you could apply again based on the theory that like there's a changed circumstance, and so you should have another chance to present your case. But that's not likely to work, to be honest with you, unless there's something really egregious, something huge that has happened that's new. Okay. All right. Nice. Thank you. Is a green card interview based on asylum that's granted through immigration court? Easy. Good question. The question is this. Is the interview that you could have when you apply for your green card, permanent residency based on asylum, is that interview going to be easy when your asylum was granted by the immigration court? Well, first of all, listen, a lot of people that apply for a green card based on their asylum status don't actually have an interview. USCIS for the green card, USCIS just says they look at the documents, and if they think everything's in order, they give you the green card without requiring an interview. But sometimes interviews are required, and there's actually a decent chance that under Trump that they'll become much, much more common, if not obligatory for like everyone. it can actually be hard. They do often at that stage, no matter whether you were granted asylum with the asylum office or immigration court, they do at that stage pick apart your old case, not to analyze whether you meet the requirements for asylum, but to try to show that you lied. They often try to find little things to pick apart that look like inconsistencies to say, oh, you've been lying to the government, and then they can try to take away your asylum status and even deport you. So yeah, it is important to do this well. Not just the interview, potential interview, but like the stuff that you present on paper in support of your green card application. It needs to be done really well, really carefully and thoughtfully to make sure that you do it well, so that you don't have this kind of problem when it's time for USCIS to consider your green card application, both in assessing the written elements and possibly an interview with you as well. Okay, you got to do it well. You got to do it carefully and smart. All right. All right. Let's see. Nice. What are the chances for success? We go to someone I haven't answered a question for. What is the in YouTube Moo? What are the chances for success for a mandamus case? I understand the longer the wait, the more where was it? The more likely an interview will be scheduled. But what about a 3-year case? Is it very difficult to win? Good question. Excellent question. The question is this: how long do you have to wait, or should you wait, before filing a mandamus lawsuit to force your asylum interview, to move your stalled case forward? So yeah, the question is whether the delay has been unreasonable. If the delay is considered unreasonable, then you'll win your asylum, your mandamus lawsuit, and get your interview scheduled. So what is unreasonable? It's not defined concretely anywhere. But listen, for us, what we are saying at the moment, based on our experience, and we've got a lot of experience, we've been filing a lot of these lately, is 3 years is enough. 3 years since you applied for asylum. If it's been 3 years or more, we think that you're in a good position to have success with the mandamus lawsuit. Now, it's different though for Los Angeles Asylum Office. For anyone in the Los Angeles Asylum Office, we're saying 5 years. So 5 years Los Angeles Asylum Office, 3 years everywhere else. This works. We filed over 100 of these recently. We've never lost one. That doesn't guarantee future success, but it should show you that it's a powerful tool. And if you're sick of waiting, you should use it. Okay. How have I not mentioned this yet in today's Asylum Answers show? We're offering a discount on this service, this asylum delay lawsuit service that we absolutely love doing. Our clients love it. We're offering a discount, but only through the end of the month. Only through the end of the month. We're offering a $500 discount through the end of December. January 1st, it goes away. Okay. $500 discount on the asylum delay lawsuit service only through the end of the month. All right. So if you've been thinking about it, if you're tired of waiting and you've been thinking about maybe taking action to take control of your future, to gain agency over this aspect of your life, this very important aspect, now is a good time to really consider it seriously. Both because of the Trump effect, that I think it's going to get harder and harder the longer that Trump is in office. But listen, you can save $500 too if you want to move forward now. So call us, or actually better still, don't call us. It's better. It's quicker and easier. Just go online and schedule your consultation. You can do that at winasylum.com. That's WINASYLUM.com. Again, that URL, that webpage is winasylum.com. WINASYLUM.com. Okay. Yeah, nice. Okay. I've overstayed my visa. Do I submit I-589 only, or should I add another USCIS form? Says Donag 5352. What other forms did you have in mind? What do you mean? Do you mean apply for something else, or do you mean when you apply for asylum, should you include stuff related to your whatever your visa, whatever your status is currently, or what it was? Whether you can or should apply for something other benefit in addition to asylum, I don't know. I'd have to know about your situation to be able to tell you whether I think it bears seriously considering another status, which is to say, are you potentially eligible for something else? I have to talk with you about that to see what I think. Listen, in general, I think you should pursue every route available to you for getting long-term status. Like if you can pursue a business or employment-based status at the same time you're applying for, while you're seeking your asylum, great, do both of those. If you can get status, a green card based on marriage, yeah, you should pursue it. Don't withdraw your asylum case though. While that's going on, the question then is this: if you're trying to get a green card through marriage to a U.S. citizen and that application is pending, or maybe you're about to file it, is it okay then to just go ahead and get rid of your pending asylum case, to withdraw the case, to close the case out? I really don't think you should do that. No. I think you should leave your asylum case open, active, unless and until you get that green card in your hand. In fact, if it's based on marriage, I think it's best to wait until you get your 10-year green card. Usually you get, not usually, always, you get depending on how long you're married, you get a 2-year green card first. And then you have to apply to remove the conditions on that. And at that stage, some people get denied and they lose their status. I think once you get that condition removed and you get the 10-year green card, then it's okay to withdraw your asylum claim. But I wouldn't do it until then, okay? You want to pursue every route to status, to long-term status possible. Keep pursuing them, okay? Don't give up on anything until you get that permanent green card, okay? So Judy Ebenezer says, I had my hearing in November and it wasn't completed because the judge had another hearing at 1 p.m. and pushed it to December 17th. What I want to know is, are they going to go through the process from the start? Interesting question. Good question. The question is this: if your hearing in immigration court starts, but it doesn't finish, like we're talking about your individual hearing, the one where you're actually presenting your case. If it gets started, but you don't get to finish, and so the judge says, oh, we're going to have to stop for the day and we're going to have to continue this to schedule a new date to come back and keep doing the hearing. What happens at that continued hearing, the new one? Do they have to go back and start from the beginning of the individual hearing and do all this stuff again, or do they just sort of pick up where they left off? It's the latter. They pick up where they left off. You don't have to repeat the prior testimony. You don't have to do any of the prior administrative tasks. Again, they pick up where they left off. So it should be hopefully not so long. Well, it depends on how far you got last time, I guess. But yeah, the good news is you don't have to go back and just repeat everything that you already did or said. Okay? Good luck. Good luck. Nobody says, can you explain how you have to prepare your case based on past psychological harm? The question is this: what should you do in preparing your case to emphasize psychological harm that you've endured because of the persecution that you've faced? Well, listen, you need to show how severe it was, right? You need to show what happened and what effects that it had on you, including on your mental health and psychological damage or trauma that it caused to you. Ideally, if you've been seeing a mental health professional ever because of that, to get therapy or to get help, that's important to talk about. And ideally, you want to get a letter from that provider that explains what you've been through and how it's affected you, and tying it to what you endured in your country. And you got to provide details about how it's affected you. Does it cause you nightmares? Does it cause you to be unable to eat? Does it make you afraid when you see policemen because of what happened with the police in your country? Describe in detail in your declaration, and if you have evidence supporting it, and then be ready to talk at your interview in detail about the exact impacts that it's had on your life. Okay? You want to sort of bring it to life for the officers so that they see just how bad it is, okay? And this is hard, right? This can be re-traumatizing for people. It's very sad and difficult that you're having to think about these things and talk about them and write about them and talk about them. I know it can be very hard. It can be damaging. It can re-traumatize people, but it's necessary. It's necessary for your case. you have to show the officer how bad it is. You have to show them what you've been through and how it's affected you. Okay. To give yourself the best possible chance to win asylum, that is. All right. All right. Listen, if you want to talk with us, go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. That's where you can schedule an asylum strategy session with one of our asylum professionals. Okay. We would love to talk with you. We've got a few spots open. I think there's a few more later this week that are still open. And then, we're actually doing a few because of significant demand. We've opened a few spots for this weekend as well. So, so do this. Go to winasylum.com and get on our schedule now. These spots fill up fast. Okay. If you wait until tomorrow, there's like a pretty good chance that you will not see any availability for the coming weeks. Cause we've got Christmas, we've got the holidays coming up. Our office is closed for a week, over a week actually, between like Christmas Eve through New Year's through, I think the 3rd of January, we're closed. All right. So if you want to get, our help, if you want to talk with us to see if we think we can help you, do not delay. Go now. Take advantage of these open spots that you see on our calendars right now and schedule this asylum strategy session right away. Go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. Schedule this consultation now so that we can talk and understand your situation and tell you whether we think we can help support you, give you a chance, give you a better chance, increase your chances, maximize your chances for asylum success. Go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. Again, I'm Brian Manning. That's going to wrap it up for today. It's always a pleasure to be with you, to talk with you, to engage with you, to hear from you, to learn from you. It's truly an honor to support you in your asylum journey. Until next time, I'm Brian Manning, and we'll see you again soon on the Asylum Answers Show. Thanks for being with us, guys. Have a good one. Bye.